Welcome back. You're with us on the CNBC TV 18 Investment Guide, and we are in conversation with Rajiv Thakkar and Ronak Onkar of PPFAS Mutual Fund. We're, of course, discussing global technology trends and beyond and how to invest beyond the Indian borders. So, Ronak, just one more point on technology, and you were making this point just before the show as well. The concept of platform companies. I know that you folks at PPFAS Mutual Fund look out for platform companies. Now, what kind of companies are these and why invest in them?
That's a great question, Zurbi. So platforms are essentially a very unique kind of business. So we are aware of platforms like the iOS operating system or the Android operating system or Windows desktop operating system, where other companies can create applications and sell to us as users on that platform. That's one kind of a platform which basically allows people to build something on top of it and make money out of that. And those softwares can either be owned by the platform owners or can be owned by a third party as well. So there are third party apps and there are platform owned apps as well. There are other kinds of platforms, even for cloud computing as an example. It's a good example of a platform business where the cloud computing infrastructure is available for everyone to lease out. And somebody can rent out and create an app which can deliver food. Somebody can rent out and create a Netflix kind of app. And there can be a variety of things that can be made on that cloud. And depending on their usage, they pay money to that platform. And the third kind of platform is the most interesting, which is the matchmaking kind of a platform, where a unique buyer and seller can be matched, which otherwise in the physical world is really difficult to match. And we use this almost on a regular basis. So every time we book an Uber, every time we order through Swiggy, or any kind of platform technologies we use, we actually are interfacing with these kind of technologies where a cab driver was matched to us because they saw us on the app. Otherwise, physically, it would have been impossible to locate us, and they might take a few minutes to reach us. So these kind of technologies, when they come together, these business models can be created with the base of the technology. And these platform businesses then allow you to have unlimited imagination. I mean, you can create all sorts of combinations with this.
Okay, that's very interesting. And yes, I mean, we've seen a couple of such companies getting listed in India, and they've started to do well. The recent IPO, of course, has been an example. So some of these companies are doing well. Now, Rajiv, you know what? Of course, but the only issue here is that, especially for new investors, even for seasoned investors, actually, what kind of factors should be kept in mind? Because right now it's looking very interesting, and it could be easy to get trapped as well, right? In some of these fancy stocks, these global trending stocks. So what should be the key factors to keep in mind?
Firstly, one has to do the underlying research. One cannot just blindly go by some tip or go by some social media chatter and go and buy the underlying stock. So you should know what the company does, what are the financials, is it a stable company, and can it last, and is there a sustainable business model? So otherwise, obviously, losses could be huge, and which applies to foreign companies as well as Indian companies. When one is buying foreign companies, some specific factors to be kept in mind are, firstly, you are investing in a different currency. So for small amounts of money, the banks will charge a hefty commission both on outward remittance as well as inward remittance. So that is something to be kept in mind. Brokerage is not very high, so with internet brokerage costs are quite limited. But one has to keep in mind the taxation factors. So you are dealing with double country taxation. So the taxation laws of the investee country as well as our own country, India, as far as both these things go. And sometimes the investee country may have inheritance tax. So if someone remits a large amount of money and then unfortunately passes away, a substantial chunk of the overall investment and not just the gains could be taken away. So one has to be careful about some of these factors. Otherwise, the due diligence points are very similar to what one does with equity investing in India itself.
Okay, that's a valid point to keep in mind, especially I think taxation, because you need to look at your returns net of tax and see what makes sense for each individual. But Rajiv, we've spent a lot of time talking about technology. Tell us more. I mean, what are these new themes that are catching your imagination and attention in overseas markets?
So various things are happening. So firstly, it's not just that overseas markets has only technology stocks. there are all sorts of companies and sectors that are available globally. And firstly, even when we talk about technology, as I said, software is eating the world. So is Paytm a finance business or a technology business? Becomes difficult to answer. Same way as HDFC Bank is a finance business as well as a technology business. So one has to look at all sorts of sectors which are being touched by technology and are being transformed. And apart from technology, there's renewable energy. So solar energy costs have already come down below thermal electricity charges, even in India. And since solar energy is intermittent, that is creating an opportunity in an allied sector, which is electricity storage. So batteries will be, or batteries or other kinds of energy storage will be a big business down the road. Auto is being transformed on account of various trends. One, of course, is electrification, the EV drive. The other is autonomy, where autonomous vehicles are coming in. And again, ride hailing and ride sharing is an overlay on all of this. So that space is big. Pharma, genetics, all these spaces are again seeing a lot of tech related trends, not entirely computer related, but science and research related trends in the genetics and pharma space. So one can find opportunities in various spaces, and again one can look at the upstream energy, oil and gas, or one can look at all sorts of banking and consumer names. So just like we have a well diversified Indian market, one has to realize Indian stocks are only about 4 to 5% of the global market. So rest of the economy is outside of our shores.
Sure.
So plenty of stocks to choose from.
Okay, plenty of stocks to choose from. A bit of an out of syllabus question, Ronak, to you. I'm guessing that you won't be allowed to buy Bitcoin. If you were, would you have put money in Bitcoin? And of course, I think that you can invest via ETFs, right? The crypto ETFs. Is that an option? Your thoughts?
From regulation point of view, it's very clear we can't do it. But if one has to do it, you look at it like so is it a company which generates cash flows over a period of time? Is it an asset class which generates its own source of income? If the answer is no, then as an investment opportunity, it does not seem like a great opportunity. But of course, markets can prove you wrong just because of price movement. So I don't want to comment beyond that. But regulatory point of view, we're not allowed to invest in commodities or asset classes of these types.
Rajiv, what would be your view on this issue going forward? Yeah, for a lot of people, it's a bit disappointing, right? That they can't invest in Bitcoins. But your thoughts?
So firstly, let's try and define what is Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency for that matter. Money is a means of exchange, medium of exchange. It's a store of value and things like that. So clearly, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have not become mediums of exchange. I've seen the Tesla announcement that they'll accept Bitcoins as money for purchasing cars, but it fluctuates so wildly against the US dollar and all other fiat currencies that it's very difficult to use that as a medium of exchange. Again, as a store of value, given that it goes up and down so wildly, it becomes difficult. So down the road, sure, if it becomes acceptable, maybe we'll term it as a currency. But as of now, I don't think that is the case.
I guess I'd be really careful.
The other point that is being made by...
Sorry, Rajiv, yeah. Continue. Yeah.
The other point that is made by fans of cryptocurrency is that you can have only so many number of Bitcoins. So unlike fiat currency, which can be printed endlessly. Well, that is true. You cannot have more than a specified number of Bitcoins, but that does not prevent other forms of cryptocurrencies being brought to the market. So you have Ethereum and Dogecoins and a variety of other currencies. So again, we have taken the power to print money outside of the governments, but we have given the power to anyone who can write crypto computer code. So I don't think that's a great scenario in any case.
I was just saying, Rajiv, that if I was storing bitcoins to buy my swanky new Tesla, I'd still be very careful. The way these cryptos crash as well, suddenly I won't have enough coins, right, to buy my fancy car. So I think that's something that one needs to be cognizant of. Very quickly, last, I think 30 seconds left on the show, Ronak, to come back to the more serious matters on valuation. Now, you guys have always said the reason you went in to buy, let's say, Suzuki Motor Corp and not Maruti was the valuation difference of the arbitrage that you get. Are you looking at other global MNC parents? I mean, there's Unilever, for instance. So what else are you looking at where the global parent makes more sense than the Indian company?
I think many such options are available. So, for example, if you look at 3M as an example, we used to own in the portfolio in the past. There is a company called Anheuser-Busch, which also allowed us to invest in that company when some of the holdings are there. Heineken is another option. There are many parent group companies which you can track and see the valuation differential. But the main point is you also need to understand the business metrics. So business metrics locally might be a fast growth business. The global business might be a slowing consolidated business. So that also needs to be understood. It gives you the safety of diversification because the global operations generate global revenues. But at the same time, if you need to look at even the growth metrics, the profitability metrics, and the sustainability of those metrics in each of these markets. So yeah, most companies which have MNC parents, you can take a look at them in many sectors, in chemicals, in consumer, in sports, utilities, and even automobile. All these companies can be looked at.
Okay, Ronak and Rajiv, thanks a lot for joining us. You know what? Your fund has always been for me a bit of a case study of how you can make consistent money, and without doing too much of shuffling here and there. And of course, this was more of an academic session, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So thanks a lot, both of you, for taking time out.
All right. Well, with that, thank you, gentlemen. And with that, we are out of time on this week's edition of the Investment Guide. Keep watching, keep sending us your feedback, comments, and queries. We'll see you with another conversation next week.